The season has officially come to an end, and now it's time to break down one of the most talked about players on the roster. His postseason interviews just dropped, and whether you're a fan or a skeptic, there's no way to ignore the weight of his words. These weren't just throwaway media quotes. They were loaded with reflection, insight, and a bit of that signature edge he's known for. And if you think you've already formed your opinion about how his season went, I suggest you hold that, or thought. Because once you hear what he said, you might start to see things from a different angle. Now, let's be real. This player has always been a lightning rod for conversation. Some love his grit and intensity. Others question his consistency or role within the team. But this season, it was different. We're talking about a guy who managed to suit up for 68 games. That might not sound like much on paper, but when you consider his injury history, that number stands out. It's the most he's played since the previous season, and a clear jump from the years before where injuries were practically a recurring theme. That availability alone already sets a different tone for the conversation, but the story doesn't stop there. Let's talk about his shooting. His field goal percentage dipped a bit, and that's where some eyebrows started to raise. We saw him miss some close-range layups that he normally converts, and that three-point percentage, it dropped too. He finished at 32% from beyond the arc, which, while not disastrous, definitely raised some questions, especially when compared to the peak of his career, where he once hit 38% back in the 2015 to 2016 season. That was his best shooting year, and this current stretch doesn't quite match up. What's interesting is that it felt like he was shooting more threes, more aggressively. It looked like he had the green light and took full advantage of it. From 1 to 3 attempts per game, he was letting it fly in ways we hadn't seen since around 2018. But with more attempts comes the risk of a lower percentage, and that's exactly what happened. Despite the volume, the efficiency just wasn't quite there. Still, you can't ignore the moments. He had games where he hit clutch corner threes or top of the key jumpers that shifted momentum. 2 for 6 nights, 3 for 5 stretches, then 0-point games that made people wonder if he should even be out there. But when you zoom out, it becomes clear that his impact went beyond the box score. We've got to look at his free throw numbers too. 68% from the line isn't where you want it to be, especially for a player who handles the ball and initiates offense. That number's slightly below his career average, and while it's not catastrophic, it adds to the narrative of a season that was solid but not spectacular. Then there's the rebounding. That number took a dip as well. For a player who once consistently averaged around 7 boards per game, the drop-off was noticeable. He still contributed, but it wasn't a focal point of his performance this year. Assists, though? That's where he continued to shine. He averaged around 5 points. 6 per game, maintaining that role as a facilitator and offensive organizer. Add to that about 1.5 steals and 9 points per game, mostly coming from behind the arc. And you start to get a picture of a player who was still valuable, even if the numbers didn't scream all-star. It's worth noting that those 9 points represented one of his best scoring totals since the 2017 to 2018 season. So was it a statistical success? Not exactly, but a failure also? No, because one of the biggest wins of his year was availability. He stayed on the floor. No long suspensions, no extended absences. A few minor injuries, sure, that's normal in this league, but compared to seasons past where a string of technicals or flagrant fouls might have kept him out of crucial matchups, this year was different. He stayed composed. He stayed locked in. He took on a leadership role and helped hold the team together, especially when other key players were dropping like flies. And speaking of those injuries, he addressed that in his exit interview too. You could hear the frustration in his voice. He truly believes that if just a few of his teammates had stayed healthy, they could have gone further, maybe even all the way. He didn't say it outright, but the implication was there. He's been in the league long enough to know that championships often come down to timing, health, and a little bit of luck. He pointed out that during their previous title run, a few key injuries on the opposing team helped pave the way. That doesn't take away from the win, but it's part of the reality. And just like they benefited from misfortune once, they were on the other side of it this time. That's sports. That's the NBA. He didn't make excuses. He didn't cry foul. But he made it clear if everyone had been healthy, this season might have ended differently. Could they have won a title? He thinks so. Would they have won for sure? No one knows. and he respects that uncertainty. What stood out the most was his acknowledgement that injuries are part of the grind. You can't just celebrate the wins and ignore the losses. You have to own the whole journey, and that includes getting knocked out in the playoffs, even if it wasn't a fair fight. The team that eliminated him, they earned it. They advanced. No complaints, but it's clear that losing a key player stung, especially knowing how hard it is just to get to that point. Every season, teams around the league deal with the same thing. The margin is razor thin, and sometimes it comes down to nothing more than a twisted ankle or a pulled hamstring. That's the brutal beauty of the postseason. That's why it hurts so much. You spend all year grinding for a shot at the top, and then one unlucky break changes everything. He also touched on positional issues, specifically the lack of a true big man on the roster, and he was honest. Brutally honest. He's been holding it down at the 5 for months now, playing 35 to 37 minutes a night for the last 3 months straight, and he's proud of that. He says he's in the best shape of his life. He feels great physically. He's not ducking the challenge, but he's also realistic. At around 6'6" or 6'7", battling against 7-footers night in and night out takes a toll. It's not sustainable long term, especially with the way the league is trending, bigger, stronger, faster. He's done his part. But if the team wants to make real progress, they're going to need to address that hole. That means bringing in a reliable center, someone who can dominate the paint, clear the boards, and do the dirty work inside. The guy who held that role for over a decade just isn't the same anymore. Time catches up with everyone. And without that presence in the middle, it's hard to compete at the highest level. That's why the trade they made earlier in the season, bringing in a high-level talent, was so important. It was the move they needed. And according to him, the hardest part of the rebuild is already done. They've got the cornerstone. Now it's about building around it. Still, they fell in the second round. No way around that. And he knows it. That loss hurts. Doesn't matter who was hurt, who was playing what position, or what the matchups were. They didn't get it done. So now it's about learning from that and figuring out how to build a team that doesn't just survive the regular season, but thrives in the playoffs. Because there's a difference between regular season heroes and postseason killers. And this team, they need more of the latter. He brought up another critical point too. The fatigue of playing playoff level basketball for 3 straight months just to sneak into the postseason. That's not a recipe for success. He's not saying the team should coast or take games lightly, but burning out your top players before April is a surefire way to come up short. The goal needs to be consistency, a strong start, a steady middle, and a powerful finish, not a scramble at the end just to secure a seed. They've been in playoff mode since February, and by the time the real playoffs started, they were already running on fumes. There's optimism though. That came through loud and clear. He believes in the group, he believes in the front office, and he believes in himself. Whether he stays in his current role or shifts to something else, he's ready. He's adaptable. He's proven that. And as he looks around the league at younger, taller, faster players coming up, he knows the only way to stay relevant is to evolve. He's not clinging to the past. He's focused on what comes next. And that future includes some tough financial decisions. He's a restricted free agent now, and a qualifying offer of $7.5 million is expected. But will he accept it? That's the big question. Word is he might command anywhere from $20 to $30 million on the open market. That's a massive jump. And if the team matches it, they're blowing past the salary cap. So what happens? Next? That's where things get complicated. He says he wants to be here, but money talks. And if another team comes calling, things could get very interesting. For now, though, it's all about reflection, about absorbing the lessons of this roller coaster season and preparing for what's ahead. Because no matter where he ends up, he's proven that he still has something to offer. He's not done. Not by a long shot. And for a guy who's been written off more than once, that's exactly where he wants to be. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In a stunning move that has sent shockwaves through the basketball world, Kevin Durant has officially signed a 4-year contract with the Golden State Warriors. The announcement, made early this morning, immediately dominated sports headlines. Across the United States, reigniting debates about player loyalty, super teams, and the balance of power in the NBA. Durant, widely regarded as one of the most talented scorers in NBA history, chose to leave his current team in favor of reuniting with the Warriors, a franchise he previously helped win 2 championships during his first stint between 2016 and 2019. His return to the Bay Area comes as a surprise to many, especially considering his past statements about forging his own path with other franchises. But sources close to the superstar indicate that Durant was drawn back by unfinished business and the chance to compete for more titles alongside Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. The 4-year deal, reportedly worth upwards of $200 million, solidifies Golden State's core for the foreseeable future and instantly reestablishes the Warriors as one of the league's most formidable contenders. Fans across the country are reacting with a mix of disbelief and excitement, while rival teams are scrambling to reassess their strategies in response to this seismic shift. For the Warriors, Durant's return signals a bold new chapter, reviving memories of their near-invincible dominance just a few years ago. For Durant, it is a homecoming laced with both opportunity and pressure, the chance to further cement his legacy, but also to face the critics who have questioned his decisions in the past. Regardless of perspective, one thing is certain: Durant's move has changed the landscape of the NBA overnight, and the basketball world will be watching closely as this next chapter unfolds in Golden State. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.